something. It's around 5 something in the morning. And I woke up and I can't sleep. I keep thinking about the giants. You may say, Gina, what giants are you talking about? I'm talking about the giants in North America that we discovered last night in that live video. They were very tall. They were like 7.5, some maybe 8 feet tall, and they roam the land. They had big, long craniums, and they were described as extraterrestrial beings. And I'm sitting there thinking, then there's this history of this mud flood, and we know that the earth was flooded with water. But then in some of these buildings, some of the doorways are 10 feet tall in buildings. And people have been wondering, why are the doorways in the building around 10 feet tall? Why would they need such tall buildings? And who was these giants, you all? I can't get this out of my mind because it's like something's not, I'm going to get myself situated here. Something's not adding up about these giants and all of the skeletal remains. Good morning. You need to check your stove. Yeah, go ahead. If you got to cook your food, yeah, go ahead and check your pasta. You be right back. Yeah, that's right. You go ahead. Good morning. Who are those giants, you all? And there's even biblical accounts of giants roaming the land. And then you have King Og. He was the last of his kind. And then there's this Saturday night thing called the cone heads, and they made fun of people, but their heads look like a cone. I don't think they had a cone like that. If you remember last night, their craniums were like long. They're long, and they had a human-like face. But these giants, how come they disappeared? Really, how come the giants of old disappeared? And why did the Smithsonian want to do away with their remains, their bones of these giants? Were these giants, it's kind of cold up here, was these giants evil? Were they evil? Were they like described in that Saturday Night Live or something as a race of extraterrestrials, you all? Now, there is something about this place called Paradise where it got burnt up in California or something. I don't know where it was at, if it was there, but they were tall beings, I think. Hello, good morning. Tall beings, and they had an extra set of teeth. They had extra teeth in their mouth, and they had extra a special dentist because of their teeth, their mouths. But that whole area, Paradise, wherever it was, hello, it got burnt up. Did something from above discovered this race of beings, extraterrestrials, like giants, like, I don't know. They walked among the humans, but they might have been a little long, a little tall, but they stood out. And what if something from above discovered them, and, that's what happened? Just like the giants of old, where they're in North America, like in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, they just disappeared. And there's hardly any history of them. You got to really dig. And the doorways, the giant doorways, 10 feet tall doorways. Who would, if a doorway, if you're tall and you're walking under a current doorway, you got to bend down. But if you would have tall doorways and you were a giant, you wouldn't have to bend down, you wouldn't. So something's not adding up. And if there's these mud flood things, why did they have a mud flood? And I was reading something also about there's been several resets throughout the history of mankind that we know of where like everything is wiped out and people are like gone except a remnant always remains. They save only a remnant of mankind on the earth. See, this ain't the first time, even like when the like apocalyptic times come and the earth is so wicked and stuff, it's like a cleansing. And then they save only a remnant. But this time they call it, how they say, um, there'll be times of great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world, never to be equaled again, if those days had not been cut short. No one would survive except for the elect, which sometimes it's often referred to as a remnant. But even back in history, uh, that's happened before too. There's accounts of it in different countries, writings and stuff. Way, way, way back, they found like the earth like truly was like a lot of it was destroyed, and they saved only a remnant. What's going on, y'all? This is wow. So we got these giants that roamed the land. We did, and I'm thinking, then you got these people. Hello, are you out? Let me get my better glasses on. Then you got people who are visited by these tall whites, and they see them. Who are they? Who are these tall whites of beings? Because they're really tall, and I would consider them giants. I would. Hello. Um, you're late to the conversation. That's okay. About the giants with 5 fingers and a thumb. Okay, yeah, they're not normal. Who put them here? Who put the giants on the earth, you all? You got to think about this. Somebody say, well, Gina, you know, it was the fallen ones. They mated with the daughters of men. They found that the daughters of men were beautiful, and they mated, and there were giants that roamed the land. Well, how did the daughters of men and stuff originally get here too then? Who put the daughters of men on the earth and stuff like that? If there weren't no giants, but then there was a period of time where giants roamed the land. The tall white seemed to be the Palladians. Okay, well, what if their skin was not completely, totally like all white? What if they were like the ones that we saw last night? The tall beings who were on the earth, because the whole earth, it seems like giants roam the land. And according to that thing that was made fun of on that SNL, somebody said, Saturday Night Live, about these conehead beings. They were tall, and they said they were extraterrestrial. They were extraterrestrial. They were a race, a hypothetical race of extraterrestrials. That's what they said. So who were they? And when I went to visit that ark in Kentucky, how they said they saved Noah, just only a remnant. See, when the flood came, only a remnant was saved. Only a small amount, because there was so much wickedness on the earth. It was just Noah and his family, just a remnant. And really, how did he build the ark in that period of time? There must have been giants back then too, because according to Earth history, there were giant skeletons unearthed. And if you think about the biblical account, it only goes back maybe, I don't know, 6,000 years. That's what they say. Well, we had giants on the earth back then. Could it have been that those giants, some of those giants maybe, what if Noah was a giant? What if he was? He was bigger than 6 foot. What if he was 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11, or 12 foot? What if he was? That would make more sense, being able to build that ark. Everything is bigger than one knows. That's right. The doorways, If y'all just tuning in, I woke up. I couldn't sleep. I got myself restless. I guess my spirit was restless about the giants that found in all the skeletal remains found in the mounds in North America. And it wasn't just North America. It's all over the earth. It's all over the earth. And it seemed like they died out or they were wiped out. But then, just look at this. So then, you had Wilt Chamberlain. They said Wilt Chamberlain, wasn't he tall? I think I saw this picture last night after I ended the live video. I was looking at Andre the Giant because somebody mentioned Andre the Giant. How tall was Andre the Giant? Really, how tall was he? And there was a picture of Andre the Giant and then Wilt Chamberlain standing next to an average man. How tall was Wilt Chamberlain? And then there are some tribes in Africa. They're very tall too, really tall. And then there's pictures of humans, really tall humans in America with suits on from old, very, very tall. Do you think they weren't completely wiped out? And then I started thinking, now I did, you all. I'm not just saying. Started thinking about Trump's son. Look how tall he was. He kept growing and growing and growing. Very tall, you all. Then I thought, are they trying to bring back the giants of old? I did. I thought that. See, the Smithsonian did a lot to take all their skeletal remains and dump them in the ocean, get rid of them. But then we got all these mounds. But then we got some tall people that remained on the earth. They didn't wipe them out. They didn't. And then it seems like you're getting even more taller people. For entertainer purposes. See, this is strange. Egyptian giants lived historically in Iowa, the effigy mounds. See, and I didn't get as far as, I didn't make it to Iowa last night when we was talking about the giants. I didn't. Why? Why is this history being hidden? And could there be a lot of fabrication in the history concerning, the Indians and stuff like this? It's like, who was that song? Was it Peter Pan's, how she's singing? They're singing that song, savages, savages, barely even human, savages, savages, barely even human. You know what I'm talking about? Why did they have to throw that song in that cartoon movie about these Indians? They called them savages, savages, barely even human. Hello, if you're just tuning in. Gina woke up. I couldn't sleep, thinking about the giants. And they had an elongated skull, and it was found all over the world. And their teeth were different, and their fingers, as some said, they had 6 fingers. And there are reports of extraterrestrials with 6 fingers. Let me see this. There have been these palladium reports that people are following. At least they used to talk about God. Then they started calling him source energy now. They are saying that Jesus was less than John. The guy who escaped from prison with the female guard, both their last name was White. He was 5'9". Well, see, that's not too tall, 5'9", because I have nephews and nieces. They're above 6 feet. Okay, they are. I think the tallest is like almost 6 foot, almost 6'3". In my family, some of my nieces and nephews. So they're above the 6 foot thing. The same phenomenon found in the caves of Guerrero, Mexico. Your son is 6 foot tall. Lorraine Ray, did you watch that video last night? And is your reason your mind's all messed messed up. Your mind's all racing about these giants of old. And they're so tall. What is like, who wiped them out? And why did they wipe them out? Were they really wicked? A lot of the giants of old and stuff? Good afternoon. Oh, no, you didn't. Um, near the, close to Taxco Aileron, the 23 chromosomes were kept in the horseshoe crab. Well, I don't know all about that kind of stuff. I don't. Of the Nephilim. Wow. Then look at this. Look at I just now saw pop up on here. Baseball, barbecue, and dead ponies, a history of, I didn't want to read it, of fat men's clubs in Texas. Why would they have, no, from left to right, a comedian, 250, why would they have a fat man's club? Okay, that's not what I was supposed to be talking about, these giants. See, it tried to distract me. You see what the algorithm did? It tried to distract me from talking about these giants by putting that on there, you all. It did. Now, it's very intelligent, the algorithm is. What are the chances of that coming on there? Black Rock, Rockefeller. Okay, let's look at that. Black Rock, Rockefeller. Why does he say Black Rock and then Rockefeller? Rock. Who is that? Who is the Black Rock Rockefeller? Okay, didn't somebody say that one of those people had a cone, had like an elongated skull on them? Oh yeah, the first is the bank. Yeah, AI did it. That's right. So, okay, was talking about see, you talked about the chromosomes in this, the blue crab. Was it the blue crab? Oh, is it Sunday? Oh, yeah, happy Sunday. I wanted to see about this crab that someone spoke about. I don't got time to go watch everybody's channels. Okay, I don't. That's not me. I'm not going to do that because I got to discover. We got to discover together. Okay, blue. The sneeches. Oh no, you're talking about inches. The giants from a long ago. Photos you took today. You see giant faces or heads on ships. Okay, you probably do. Just watch. Yeah, well, if I got time today, I'll look at it, but I'm not going to watch it right now. Okay, I'm not. It's 9:24 in Senegal, West Africa. Oh, wow, it's early. Yeah, yeah, later is fine. If it's about the giants, yeah. So y'all hear what she said. He said, I can't really see about, I don't know what that channel was about. If it's about the giants, then it goes along with this. Why the native put their hand in palms facing each other, that to make sure there is 5, not 6. Wow, Julianne. You believe they are about to return. Good morning in Africa. Oh, Lorraine Ray. Good morning in Africa. Yeah, good morning to them. It's about the chromosomes and the giants and the Nephilims. So, were the giants bad or were they good? Now, it was said, recorded, I saw some people in the comment, they ate men. And there is an account in the book of Enoch. Was it Enoch where they ate the men? When there wasn't not enough food for these giants. They started to eat the humans. They were flesh eaters. That can't be good. That can't be good, you all. I don't want to be their food. I don't. I don't want to be their food. Flesh eaters. He saved the chromosomes in the crab all for this time. That's really interesting. It really is. Fee, fi. That's right. Fee, fi, fo, fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman. And they say that the Englishman came over to North America. I guess they went all over the world, and they went conquering and destroying. And that's the giants. Be him dead or be him live, I'll grind his bones and make my bread. Cannibals. Oh my gosh. That sounds like the reptilians. Cain was from the devil. And did it not say that the ground cried out because the blood was shed? But then, was he the one who killed his brother Abe? Were they giants? Were they giants? Was Cain and Abel giants? I'm going to look. I'm going to look at it. Look, there's a book of giants. The book of giants. It is an apocryphal Jewish book which expands upon the Genesis narrative of the Hebrew Bible. Excuse me. To the manner of Enoch. Did you know that? Right there. A war in heaven. Let me see this. Yeah. It's a similar manner in the book of Enoch. Together to this later work, the book of giants stands as an attempt to explain how it was that the wickedness became so widespread and muscular, before the flood. In doing so, it implies the reason why God was more than justified in sending the flood. It's dated back before the 2nd century BC. The Book of Giants is an antediluvian pre-flood narrative that was received primarily in Manchaean literature, also known as the Turfan. It's the earliest known traditions of the book, are Aramaic copies of the Book of Giants. The Dead Sea Scrolls. The Dead Sea Scrolls, 1947. That's what it was. That's when they were found. 1947. Admiral Byrd had visited Middle Earth. Then the Roswell incident. Then not too long after, like is it 1948, Israel becomes a nation. there's all this stuff started coming out. All this growth occurred around that time. All these agencies started sprouting up, you all. They're the sons of the fallen one. So they found the Book of Giants among the Dead Sea Scrolls. Look at this. It's the giant mythology in Genesis, the books of Enoch, which is Ethiopic, Slavonic, Hebrew, and Greek. The Jubilees, the Apocryphum, Baruch. I've heard a third Baruch. Damascus document. There was a Damascus document. The visions of Daniel, the background and the fate of these antediluvial giants and their fathers, the Watchers, the Grigori. Oh my gosh, the sons of God, of holy ones who rebelled against heaven in forbidden violation of the strict boundaries of creation. They commingled in their lust with the daughters of men, you all. They were lusting after them. That lust is still on the earth today. I shouldn't laugh, but it is, you all. I didn't know they had a book of giants. The Raphael, not fallen. There were 200 watcher angels sent to help Adam. You heard those stories before. Hello in Germany. Maybe we should read that. Circlek. Yeah. Puma Punku. More important are the lead pages found in the 1800 lead pages in Libya. Giants are the sons, and they mated with the humans. If you anchor yourself to Jesus, you'll be carried away by all kinds of fears. If you do not, well, I'm not fearful, but I'm wondering about this. They're even more corrupt offspring. Okay, these are more corrupt offspring. The giants were variously called together, called thereafter the Nephilim, the Rephaim, being earthly, half-breed bases like savages, barely even human, that fought against God and his righteous followers, whose numbers diminished as the world was overwhelmed with corruption and evil. The Manchean fragments give these wicked ones the general name demons, calls them the, ooh, that's not nice, though the terms for the watchers and their offspring are often confused in the various translations and literations. Collectively, these rebellious races are referred to as the fallen angels in the apocryphal sources, also as in the biblical narratives and references in them, you all. But then they have them in North America. There's the offspring of the fallen, of the angels who were sent to earth. You all, this can see, you go look at this up. Just go look up, this is your reference right here. I can't put it in here on here. Wikipedia wiki, the Book of Giants, Eastern Aramaic, Qumran fragments, Dead Sea Scroll version of the Giants, other texts. Oh my goodness. But then look, do you think, okay, somebody said they put the 23 chromosomes in the blue crab. The blue crab. And they're trying to, what color? It doesn't matter what color the watchers were, it really doesn't. At this point, all we know that there was giants and there's still giant people. That's right. Well, there's lots of people who say they're Jesus. There are. I've seen several groups who claim that they have Jesus with them right now, their Messiah. They do. And they'll stand up for that person who they say is the Messiah, is Jesus in the flesh. Um, the Grigori are vampires. Mm, yeah, the horseshoe crab. The horseshoe crab. The horseshoe crab. Why hide it in a horseshoe crab? And the giants of old. Maybe they wanted to rewrite the history. They discover a giant swimming head creature, 500 million years old. The fossil, valuable, 450 million. How do they know that they're 50 million years old? I try to stay awake, you all. I want to talk about these buildings. And some of the buildings, some of the doorways of the pre-Diluvian flood, even in Ireland and stuff, the ancient architecture, it's different. And it's like buildings, if you listen to the mud flood thing theory, buildings were built over all these other structures because they got covered up. So where did that flood come from, you all? Really, where did that flood come from? Did it come from Noah's time? Because it didn't seem like they would have been too, where they build big buildings and stuff like that and doorways. Did it? Chicago has 2 cities. The artist Slicer Smith, what are the 2 cities? The race of Adam before Adam was a blue race, the serpent race. The giants will lead you to a path. This is not good for anyone. They say millions. No way, 6,000. Yeah. The race was a blue blood race, serpent race. This is the devil's world. We are fighting evil today. I'm waiting for it. Chicago has 2 cities. There's 2 cities. I'm waiting for somebody to say that. I am. What about that 2 cities? Look. Giant doors of Tartaria and mud flood building for giants. Now there's groups dedicated to this. Because if you hit that, no, I'm not going to wait it, but I guess that's a video, you all. But there are these great big giant doors. Look how giant they are. That's giant. That's more larger than 7 feet in Germany. Large parts covered and whole buildings are left underground. Why did they leave them underground? See, look at that. And then there's a little door for a little man, but then a tall door for a tall man. Giant, look at that. Like these great big gigantic doors. See, look how tall she is right there. She's really, really tall. And there's more tall buildings and stuff. You want doors like that. Adam, the Sodom and Gomorrah. Hello there, Benny. So, John Levely. Yeah, there is entire groups that have studied the mud flood. M- Doors made for giants. Um, each door is a solid bronze, 7.5 feet wide and 25 feet high, yet so well balanced that they can be pushed or pulled open easily. Why did Italians create such tall doors during the Renaissance? Is there more to the Renaissance than what we know, you all? I never heard nothing about giants during the Renaissance. Did you all? Um, they date from 115 AD. Yeah, the Afghanistan giant. And they try to say that that was a make-believe. What if it's not make-believe? What if they are here and they live in the caves? Um, the doors were tall so horses could bring in logs for the winter. Well, that's what they want you to think. Well, I'm sure they did. Look at that. 25 feet tall. See that door? See her? A horse doesn't need that tall of a entrance. It doesn't. It don't need that tall of an entrance at all. And we had tall birds. What if everything was tall back then? Dinosaurs and stuff? What if the whole entire race of beings that were created, they were all tall? What if they were, you all? That kind of looks wild. I know that double. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to look at it, y'all. We're talking about giants that were unearthed. Um, they reel it. I don't understand. They're real, and you don't understand. They live in the caves. They brought horses and carts into the grand halls. Jack and the Beanstalk. Somebody woke you up. Sam C., who woke you up? The giants? Yeah, this is really strange because we got the giants of Ode and we got these big giant doors. Good morning. There's a giant wooden door in the south end. The Globe asks readers what they wonder about. Here's the story behind the mysterious Game of Thrones type door. Now they got a high door in the Game of Thrones. Look, bronze doors, 37 feet, 7 inches high, 10 feet. Rows of giant Corinthian columns. Advanced technology built for giants. Let's see this. The Giant of Kandahar. Yeah, we've seen that. No, that's right. No one would build it unless they needed it. The Nephilim. Giants of Fame. The Nephilim. The NFL. The Nephilim League. You're thinking about Nibiru on the FAA camera. Trilby Smith. Did someone ever answer about the two cities in Chicago? Two cities in Chicago. Two cities of Chicago. I'm just going to say for giants. I'm going to put the word giant. Giants. Okay, I'm going to do it. Two cities of Chicago. And I'll put the word giants in. Oh, look, A Tale of Two Cities. And the giants, why did they name Is Chicago called the Giants? Is it the Chicago team called the Giants? The Game of Thrones is based on a true story that happened 100, I believe it. You just can't say they had a megaphone explosion. They had a megafauna explosion and all mammals supersized. Oh my gosh. I've never heard of this before. Free agent. We are told the truth in the Bible. The giants did exist. You can't just say we had a megafauna explosion and all the mammals supersized, but humans, that's true. The good aliens help us if we can live here anymore. You believe? Oh, it's the New York Giants. Why did they give them that name? Why did they give the New York the name the Giants, you all? No! And they got the San Francisco Giants. What place are giants in? Why did the Giants? Where did they get their name? My big fellows, my giants. It might have been popularized by Donahue, P.J. Donahue, in 1885. They moved to New Jersey, a tale of 4 cities. Week 4 at the Giants. Were they giant? I can't find that, you all. Somebody must have dropped a clue in here about 2 cities in Chicago and the Giants and something. The inner earth is the Giants. The 6 trumpets have happened. Well, back in 2004, I was told, and actually 1998, I was told, and I heard it, that the 6 trumpets had happened back then too. I did. I heard it. So if they happened back then, how could they happen right now? There's a lot of groups, you all. Let me just say this. There's a lot of groups, church-going groups and stuff like that. I don't got nothing against church. But there's a lot of people who do say that all certain events have happened or they're going to happen, and they give dates and it doesn't happen. And some say such and such things have happened, but then it hasn't happened, is what I'm saying. Other events have not came before such set events. I'm not saying they haven't. Maybe they have to those, to people who are following. That gets, there's lots of people who say, you know, who believe within their spirits that lots of things have happened. We're talking about giants here, you all. We are. And there were giants in the land, and the Nephilim are inside the earth. Are they in the earth? They didn't leave. Okay, somebody said they got a dome over the earth, preventing these bad beings from leaving. Is that true? There was a dome put over the earth, and they cannot bust through. They're trapped here. They can't go anywhere else. All right, because they're in the earth. The giant Nephilims are in the earth. You know what? The defense minister, the Secretary of Defense, he looks very tall, extremely tall. He looks a massive man of structure. When I saw him, I know, I got an unsettled feeling in my being. I did, because he is massive. Yeah. And it was hard for me. It's hard for me to listen to him, you all, because something doesn't settle right in my spirit. It's something inside his being or something. It was like Didn't seem right to me. What if they live in the mountains? Well, the mountains, Jim Davison, yeah, the mountains are big enough. They are. They spread south and then to America. The river is dried up in the Euphrates. Well, throughout history, I think the river throughout history, it's dried up before too. There was other accounts of it drying up. Yeah, wimpy turtle. Yeah, I do. I trust my guts. Yeah, the Euphrates River, I think I looked into that. It has dried up before too. Historical. Before. Let's see that. Let's see. Unless it was manipulated. Two Twilights of the Tigris. So falling waters of the Euphrates, drying up. Has it dried up in the past? If it has, you haven't been told about it. It never dried up of natural causes unless it was manipulated. Is it a fulfillment? Is it a fulfillment? Well, we know they have technology where they can cause it not to rain. There's even biblical accounts of holding back the rain too. Okay, there is. And you have to ask yourself, how did that happen? Really, how did it happen? And how do we have the technology today to make it rain in certain places and not rain in certain places? How do we have it? Yeah. The river. So the giants of, to make way. Okay, so it dries up. The Euphrates dries up to make way for the kings of the east. Is that what it says? Makes way for the kings of the east. Yeah, it is a fact. Hymn 036. We're still here. Some of us are good, giant light workers. Yeah. Greetings. Moon, raven, sunbow. Yeah. I think it said to make way for the kings of old. To make way. To make way for the kings of, let's see what it exactly says. Here we go, brother. To make way for the kings from the east. Okay, that's what it says. The sixth angel poured out his bow on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up to prepare the way for the kings from the east. But is that the wrath? I mean, I'm not going to get all into that, you all. I'm not, but that's what it says. It's mentioned 19 times in the Old Testament, twice in the New Testament. It says it was dried up to prepare the way for the kings of the east. That's as far as I'm going to go into that. They're not the Chinese generals, they say. If they're not the Chinese generals, then who are they? Are they giants also? Really? Yeah. 6 a.m. There's a bit of sleep later, everyone, you all. That's right. So, if we're just tuning in, you all, there is the Book of Giants that was found with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And it goes along kind of with the Nephilim. That's what they said that was found. The Book of Giants is an apocryphal Jewish book, expands upon the Genesis and Hebrew Bible and the Book of Enoch, the Watchers, the Damascus document. This book tells of the background and fate of these three antediluvial giants. And last night they called them the Adena, the Adenas. The Adenas were the giants from last night's live video, you all. And they were in North America. Adena, the Adena race. And they were, well, see, when I type that in, you can't find anything about it. You can't. Also, Paris, Kentucky, you can't. If I do Adena race of giants, let me do this, of giants, then maybe it would pull it in. Yeah. The Adena giant race revealed profile of prehistoric mounds. So this is in the 1800s. That's when they started. Look, they're trying to say they debunk. Look, sorry, wrong. You did not debunk the myth of prehistoric giants in West Virginia. You need to go somewhere else because the lid's been taken off. The Pandora's box has been opened. You didn't debunk nothing. So see how they do that? The lost race of giants. See, they would expect us to, just because somebody said that they were a certain scholar, they got a title behind them and some kind of prestigious institution behind them, saying that they never existed. Are we supposed to believe them because they throw some type of a weight behind their thing? When you have other people who are out there doing the digging up, doing the excavation, no, we're going to believe the people at this point. This is where we're at in the game, in history. We're not going to listen to the so-called experts anymore. We're not, because that's all they are, so-called. We are at the point now, humanity is, where we can think for ourselves. We can reason with our own minds. We are capable of critical thinking. We're capable of coming to our own conclusion based on the evidence that is put out there by other people like us who are very curious and who are archaeologists in their own right, okay? They don't need no title behind there, no prestigious institution behind them to be able to go out there and search and explore and find out on their own. They don't need it. We don't need it. The game is up. We know that something has been hidden, and there is a lost race of giants. We saw it last night. Look, the saga of the giant mound builder is a tall tale. See, they're trying their best to try to debunk it. To hear this, they'd say, no, it didn't. There was a whole tribes of them, you all. That's right. We love you too. Mama loves you too, Michelle, honey. That's right. So yeah, you all, if you didn't watch that video last night, that live video on this YouTube channel, it was the gigantic beings or gigantic giants of Doddridge County, I think it was West Virginia, because we literally started on that journey, virtual journey, live. They call it freestyling. When you get on the internet, you don't have nothing planned out. You get on the internet and you go searching. You go on a journey, a virtual journey through all the information they got out there, and it leads you from one thing to another. That's what we did. We literally was led to different areas and uncovered all that information, the historical documentation, and it was documented. And it found the giants, the skeletal remains, the mounds, and everything. They're all over the place. All over the place, you all. All around the world. Yeah, it's a rabbit hole. Yeah, giant human skeletons inside the mounds. And they wanted to go hush hush, and the Smithsonians took the skeletons and they dumped them in the ocean. They did. They didn't want no history of it. Why? Because if people start knowing the history, then they're going to start questioning, they're going to start thinking, they're going to start really, the wheels in our minds are turning. They are. And we're thinking now, thinking, okay, what else is out there? This is important. See, this isn't really, I don't think this is a bad rabbit hole to go down, because this ties into the present day. It does, is what it does. He will rise you up on the last day. Your father, let me see, had a head trip. My giant father, with 6 fingers and 6 toes, told me we are from the stars. And that's probably true. Um, told you were from the stars. Um, it didn't want the giants. Isn't that something, Suzanne? He did not want the giants to confirm the biblical account of the giants. That's right, the star people. So, why did they want to come and do away with them? Were some of them bad, and then some of them were good, just like humans? Some humans are good, and some humans are bad because of what gets inside of them. Um, the indigo children. I didn't know Charles Darwin was a Mason. They said he was no atheist. Oh, goodness gracious, excuse me. Shutting out the truth. That's right. That's okay. You can only hide something for so long. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah. So, there were giants in the land. You can see them. Look. Men 8 feet tall once roamed in the local forest. And someone said that, look how tall this one is. Someone said that the Sasquatch could also be like an offshoot of these giants, the Sasquatch. Mm. This is the mounds, ancient giants. And then I thought about Stonehenge. When I woke up, I thought about Stonehenge. Yeah, I'm getting tired. Stonehenge, was it giant heads? Stonehenge, was it giant heads? No, it wasn't Stonehenge. Easter Island. I'm thinking about Easter Island. Was the giant heads that protruded out of the ground. It was just the heads. And I just wanted to do the images. The giant heads coming out of the ground. And look at their chin. What if they were in reference to the giants that roamed the earth, you all? Really? What if they were, except their tall head? What if, you all, let's talk about this. What if, let's see, there's the rest of their bodies, maybe. Do we know that their bodies are under there? You know, there has been, and then you talk about the Egyptians, the kings, the ancient Egyptian kings with their elongated heads. That too. And then if you think about some of the elves in the Lord of the Rings, their head looks kind of big, and they had the things around their heads. And I guess in the new Lord of the Ring things, or the Game of Thrones and stuff like that, What if they buried the giants? Well, they could have buried them. Well, I'm sure there were giants that big, and they just left their heads sticking out. Isn't that what they did to the Scorpion King? Um, they buried his body in the desert sand, and left his head above ground and let the ants come on him. And he somehow was killing the ants with his chin and fire from his mouth and something. It was weird, the Scorpion King. They buried him to there to see if he could get away from it. See, now they got something else on his head right here. Um, the Easter Island head. Okay, yeah. So some of the statues and monuments and stuff, they made modifications to them. Like they said, the Great Sphinx. There's a theory that they made a modification to the Great Sphinx and did to it what we see today. They took off some pieces of it in order to make it look like something else. The giant Castle of Nova Scotia, he was also a giant man. Yeah, I've spoken with Roger before on the telephone, you all. I have. The pharaohs, yeah, the pharaohs of old, you all. So that's, I woke up, it was a lion, yeah. And they didn't want people to know that it was a lion. I think they cut off their heads. I think they cut off the top of their heads at Easter Island and made their heads look like that. I'm just going to say they chopped the top of their heads off. They cut off the top of their heads. I wonder if they did. This is the Rapa Nui people. What happened to their heads? Oh, a fire ripped through part of Chile's Easter Island this week and caused permanent damage to some of the iconic carved stone figures known as that, you all. So a fire ripped through there and damaged their heads is what it did. How did they build their heads? They built their heads using stone picks carved from solidified volcanic ash. Oh my goodness gracious. So there was a fire there, you all. Look, almost all Moai have overly large heads, which comprise 3/8. Okay, no, we got to see this, you all. Their heads are overly large. Overly large heads, which comprise 3/8 the size of the whole statue. They are living faces of deified ancestors. The statues still gaze inward. Deified ancestors. So their heads were overly large, and it comprised 3/8 the size of the whole statue. So, good morning. Yeah, worship in spirit and not in truth. That's right, worship in the spirit. So, there was also something, look at this, a Birdman cult. Birdman cult. The removal of the original mole from Easter Island. They removed something from Easter Island, the original. I guess that's what it looked like right there, you all. Right there. And that's their tall heads right here. And on top of their heads, they have this on their heads. So they got a big long head. They do. See? Oh, this is a painting. The Moai on Easter Island, a painting. So this is what it looked like. Their big long heads. I think they cut half their head off. I do. I think they cut half their heads off on Easter Island because they didn't want to see nobody with a big long head like last night. You should watch that video because it showed what the giants in North America look like. This woman, her name was Marcia. She's a scientist. She did, based on all this historical documentation, she did the imaging of what they look like. It looked like the tall whites. It's because the stone is weathered. Also, is what it's kind of weathered. So they cut their heads off. Is what they did. Cut it off and put other stuff in its place, you all. The Anito ancestral spirits often carved into wooden stone figures. Okay, yeah, and you know they got the look at all this. Okay, and then think of the totem poles. How the totem poles are too, you all. It's all kinds of stuff, you all, but probably gonna have to get off of here. I am. I done said too much, and my words are done. There was a race of giants that roamed the earth, and there could be the race of giants. Some of them, they went inside the earth because they didn't all just like suddenly disappear. And someone said that the 23 chromosomes of the giants was hidden in the blue crab in this live stream. And they want to try to bring back the giants. They could. Yeah. Oh, you love seeing folks try and claim. Michelle, honey, good morning, you all. Avaris, Egypt, YouTube. Okay, that's great, you all. Thank you all for putting all your references down here in this live stream, really, because it needs to be there too, you know, what you have figured out, because not everybody's going to be able to, not everybody's going to go to the same places to find information. So it's good that you all put your stuff here to tell other people, you know, where you should go to look. Yeah. That's right. I'm going to go. Look at this. The Moai were toppled in the late 18th and 19th centuries, possibly as a result of the European contact and or inter-Sannine tribal wars. 1819. Ooh, you are Polynesia. I'm going to go, but thank you all so much for being on here. And yeah, I did a video. It ended around 8 hours ago. It did, around 10 o'clock, I think, on the YouTube. It's around an hour and 18 minutes long, and it's really interesting what we found about the giants in North America and the mounds and their skeletal remains, and there's still some here today. They can't erase the history completely. They can't, and they can't erase the word of mouth that gets spread by the word of mouth. That's right. So I'm going to go, you all. Oh, you're welcome, Vonda. Thank you all for coming on here so early in the morning. And with that being said, you all, I went over 1 whole hour. I am so sorry. Thank you again for your comments and, you know, what you've looked at and putting it in here and, you know, encouraging people. If you're interested, go look at this right here. Thank you. So I'm going to go. And with that being said, hello, wherever you are in any part of the world. Hello. From my heart to yours, love you. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, you all. Thank you once again. Please give this video a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button. Y'all go check out that other video. It's really cool. I want to watch it myself because the findings on it was like mind-boggling. And to have the person on here saying that their tall dad or grandfather had 6 fingers and I forget how many toes, and he said there's still us around today who are good. So thank you for putting your information on here too. You all, love you.